guys, Olivia here, Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. Today is Friday, March 11th, and I am back for my stitching update. It has been 2 weeks since my last one, so I hope you've all been well, and you've been stitching and making and creating all of the things. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. This is a video podcast where I talk about my cross-stitching and my quilting. However, if quilting is not something you're interested in seeing or hearing, I show it a little bit later on in the video, and I let you know in plenty of time that they'll be making their appearance, so that way you can go on to the next Flosstube video. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Hello my friends, how have you all been? I hope you've had a great 2 weeks since we last sat down to chat. This is actually my second attempt at filming these videos today, or this video today. I did shoot some this morning, but I don't think I was in the right headspace. I hesitate to say I was cranky. It wasn't like I was cranky on camera, but I definitely was kind of a poop. So when Brian got home from the grocery store and when I was putting the groceries away, I just decided to reshoot everything. So this is my second attempt and I hope it goes well. I feel a lot better now that I've kind of stepped back and taken a little bit of a break. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and just dive right in. Before I do, though, I did change out the decor. I don't really have a whole lot of Easter decor yet, but it is something that I am working on. The seasonal tree is once again naked, but have no fear. I do have plans for it, and I didn't have time to work on it. I basically, 2 days ago, I decided how I wanted to decorate it, so I need to make the stuff for it. And that's something that I'll be working on over the next couple of weeks. So hopefully in my next video, I will be a little bit more prepared, you know, with the decor around me. With that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and start showing what I have been working on over the past couple of weeks. All right, so over the past couple of weeks, I continued working on Autumn at Oaken Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. And I was able to finish the 5th block of the series. And I absolutely love working on this. I'm stitching it on a piece of 40 count Vintage Country Mocha with the DMC that is listed on the charts. And I really do love this one. I'm hoping that I can finish it by the end of the year. I don't know if that's even possible. The block that is right next to the pig is not like full coverage. It's probably got the same amount of stitches as the pig one does, but I know the one that comes after it, that one's going to take me a while. So I'm hoping that I can get this one done soon. I mean, and by soon, I mean within the next couple of years. But I so enjoy working on this one, and I'm glad that, because Yvette and I, we use Wednesday and Thursday as our autumn Wednesday stitch, and we started working on our Oaken Hollows together, or started back working on our Oaken Hollows together, and then we just decided to keep going because we were just having so much fun, and I'm glad that we decided to, because this one definitely has been calling my name to get back to it, and I'm just so happy that we did decide to. So so last night I was able to finish the 5th block, and then I got a teeny tiny little start on the next one, like tiny. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that one. Sometime this weekend I will pull the DMC threads for it, and so far I am leaving everything as it is charted. So this one is the next one. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm glad that I decided, and I know I probably said this a lot, but I'm really glad that I decided to pick that up again and start working on it, because it is so much fun. And every once in a while I will see somebody have it finished on Facebook or Instagram, and it just really makes me want to get mine done soon. And by soon, I'm not saying like next week, I'm saying soon within the next, like, we'll call it a couple of years. But I'm hoping that I can get it done relatively soon in the next year. Next up is Christmas Garden by Blackbird Designs. So this one was my New Year, New Start. I started it on January 1st, and I am stitching it in memory of my sister-in-law who passed away in November. I am stitching this with Yvette, and Yvette went and broke up the sampler into 7 assignments, and I was able to get my March assignment done. And I almost didn't think I was going to be able to, because right when I started working on this one, I ended up getting a head cold. And so for the first 2 days of it being in my rotation, I hardly worked on it. So when I started feeling better, anytime I had any little extra time, I was working on it so I could get it done. One thing I did not stitch is the little doodads. And the reason why is because I am going to personalize this with my sister-in-law's information. So it will have her name, her date of birth, her date of death, the initials of her husband, her maiden name, her parents' initials, her brother's initials, and her children's initials. And I want to make sure that I leave enough room in areas so that way I can go in and put the initials. And then once I get it all done, if I feel like it needs something in different areas, then I will put a little something there. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 36 count Dusty Road linen by Seraphim Fabrics with the Vicky Clayton Silks conversion 1/2. And I get a lot of people asking about Vicky Clayton Silks and the conversion. And she sells the floss pack for Christmas Garden on her website, and I will put a link to that down below. But I really love the colors of this so much. It's just so beautiful. I wish it would show up a little bit better on camera, but in person it is beautiful. And I love it. So I have finished my March assignment, and then in April I will pick this back up again and start working on it. So you won't see this again until April. I know I've talked about this a time or two in the last conversation that I had with my sister-in-law. She had commented asking me if I stitch anything other than houses. And I had floated the idea of possibly putting a house somewhere on the sampler. A lot of you guys thought that was a really good idea because that was a shared memory that we had together, and it was a good memory. And so I did decide to do that. I just wasn't sure where I was going to put the house. And I got looking at the sampler the other night, and I think I can put a house right here. So I will take out this vase, and if I use the house from Our Lasting Friendship, it will fit right here. So I think that is what I'm going to do. And her name, I will put it here. And then somewhere, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but Brian did want me to put her date of birth and her date of death. So somewhere I will do that on the sampler. So I've really been enjoying working on it. It's very bittersweet to work on it because I definitely think about her while I'm working on it. And I wish that she could be here to see me working on it, but I think she would have liked it. I definitely do. So for the colors of the house that I will put on the sampler, I will just use what, the Vicky Clayton Silks. I will just use those, and I will just kind of use my own judgment on where to place them on the house. The house is not that big. It probably is an inch tall, so it's not detailed or anything like that. I think it has like a door, a couple windows, and a roof, and that's about it. So it's not, I don't think I'm really gonna have to manipulate the colors too much. I basically will just have to sit there and look at it and then just kind of figure out where I will put the colors of, what I'm already using into the house. And so when it gets a little bit closer, I will figure it out then. So all of my progress for the past week, those are the two that are sort of like in progress. I do have one that I finished, but I didn't have a morning stitch, which was very strange. What ended up happening is I wanted to go and learn how to do punch needle, and I thought, well, I would do it as my morning stitch. I would do punch needle. And I went and I started to like kit it up, and I realized I didn't have enough thread. I needed some more supplies, and so I need to get that. And this month I've already spent my budget, so I cannot get any more, so I'll have to wait till April to get the threads for the punch needle that I want to do. In the meantime, I never went and pulled a new morning stitch because I decided to use the morning to work on the things that I'd already been working on in the evenings. It was a lot easier, mainly because I couldn't decide what to work on, and because I had gotten sick, I was using the morning to work on Christmas Garden, and then Autumn at Hawkrun Hollow, and then the Mary Bell Sampler, to try to get farther on those than what I was going to if I would have just left it as my evening stitch. So as far as like the rotation wise, what I've been working on, progress, that's it. Going forward, so tonight I will be working on The Winter is Past by Blackbird Designs. And I know I showed this one in my last video, but since I'm going to be working on it again, I thought I would just show it. So here is the progress that I made. And my hope is that I will be able to finish this top border and then basically get this upper portion done over these next 5 days, and then drop down and start working on some of the motifs that are like down here. So I'm hoping to get this part done over the next 5 days. So I will work on this tonight. I'm not sure how much I will actually get done because I will be editing the video. And by the time it all percolates and gets to where I can start editing it, it's usually in the evening. So it just depends on how quickly all of that goes as to how much I will actually stitch tonight. But I'm stitching it on a piece of 36 count Oaken by Picture This Plus with the called for threads 1/2. And I already have the frame for this one. I found it at the Goodwill several months ago. I think before I think I had the chart, but I didn't have the linen. And I just happened to find it. I hope it's gonna work because it's perfect. If it doesn't, I'm not sure what I will do. So, but I am looking forward to getting back to it. And then of course I will work on Autumn at Hawkrun Hollow, and I believe Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain also comes back into my rotation in these next 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to getting back to working on all of those. I did have a finish, and that is the Mary Bell Sampler by Lori Rippey of Homespun Prims by Lori. So this one, I think in my last video, I might have had the house finished, or I was really close to it. But here is the finish. So I stitched this on a piece of 36 count Conrsilk by Weeks Dye Works with DMC Threads 1/2. And I really loved working on this one. I decided to leave Mary Bell as the name. That is what is charted. I just decided to leave it. I liked it. I liked how it framed it up perfectly. So I decided to leave it. Of course, in my mind, I created this whole world for Mary Bell. So I felt like I needed to leave it. And I really loved working on this one. It's so beautiful, and I know it is a Christmas sampler, or most people will stitch it as a Christmas sampler. But I think once I get it framed, I'll just go ahead and hang it on the wall for now. But it is so cute. I just love that big red house. So that one was a lot of fun to work on. I had a couple people ask if I was going to start a red sampler wall. And probably not. I do love seeing them. And I mean, that would be the dream for me, to have a big, beautiful sampler wall, but I don't have a whole lot of wall space. So, and even in some of the rooms, you know, especially in the other room, there is paneling that comes up halfway. So, you know, I only have like so much wall space up above it. And, yeah, probably not. I think this one though will probably hang in my bedroom. when I do get it framed. So, and I haven't decided if I will look for a frame at the Goodwill or if I'll try to make one. I haven't decided yet. I have a stack of them that I need to make frames for. And I'm pretty much at the point where I really need to make them because several of them will be going into my bedroom. So I really am hoping to have those to show you in my next video because I'm anxious for them to be on my wall. And I've had a lot of those done for a little while. So it'd be nice to see them again and get them finished and just to have them out so I can look at them all the time. So that's the hope for the next 2 weeks, is that I will be able to get those framed. I have the frame molding. I purchased it from Home Depot, and I've actually had the frame molding for probably a month and a half. So I definitely need to get going. All right, so this next thing that I want to show, I'm not really sure how I want to explain it. It is fairly new plans. I've known about them. It's kind of been in the works for the last couple of months, and all of the elements just finally came together today. So in January, the husband and I, we went up to town, and there was an estate sale down the road. And so when we came home, we decided to stop, and I found this frame there. And it's such a beautiful, perfect antique frame. I don't know who the people are in the frame. I did take it apart to see if there was a name or some sort of information, and whatever information had been cut off so that they could fit it into the frame, which is super sad. So when I saw the frame, I knew I had to get it. And as I was carrying it around the house looking at the other items that they had for sale, I was thinking about what I wanted to stitch in this piece. I knew it needed to be something like florally. I wanted it to be something that sort of had that old, like Victorian vibe, because the frame definitely seems very like Victorian, elegant, you know what I mean? So I definitely wanted to find something that fit in sort of with that genre time, you know, I know I'm not explaining this very well, but basically I needed to find something that I felt would work really well with the frame, and I wanted it to be something that looked kind of old and antique. This frame will be in my bedroom, so that was another element, because in my bedroom I've kind of been styling it sort of colonial Victorian, I guess. So I'm kind of meshing two styles together, but doing it all on a budget. So I needed to find something that I felt would work perfectly, not only in my bedroom, but also in this antique frame. So as I'm walking around, it's like I knew I had seen somebody somewhere had stitched something. I had seen it recently at that point, and I knew it would be perfect for this piece. So I came home. I was kind of looking around on Instagram, hoping that something would jog my memory and I would be able to find it. And it took me a little while, but what happened is I was on Instagram, and I was scrolling through Instagram, and Kim, who is the Contented Stitcher here on Flosstube, she had posted a picture of a bird, and there was like some flowers. And I think it was a stitch along that she was starting, or it had been ongoing or something like that. But I remember liking the picture, and then I scrolled up and I thought, wait a second, she has that hashtag she uses where she's stitching birds, and I knew what I had had a bird in it. So I went back to her post, and I went to her profile page, and I was looking through her pictures, and there it was. And she had just stitched the bird with the floral motif around it, and it's this one. So it was this bird with this floral motif. And so luckily she had hashtagged it with the name of the chart, which is Ann Thomas, and it was from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. So I went online, and I basically needed to find out if there was some sort of a stitch count where I could maybe figure out how big this part was. So I emailed, or I sent a message to Yvette, and I asked her if she had this chart, or if one of her friends had the chart, to where, if she had time, she could like tell me what the stitch count was of the bird and the flowers. So she had the chart. So when she got home, she went and tried to figure out what it was. And so I did the calculations, and I discovered that if I stitched it on a piece of 40 count linen, it will fit in my frame. Had to pause there for a second. I'm still not quite over my cold, and so every once in a while the voice kind of frogs out, and so I had to pause for a second. Anyway, so I've had this chart for a couple of weeks, and I am going to do the DMC. I went through and I was thinking, you know, I probably wasn't going to have to buy I wasn't going to have to pull a ton of DMC, but that bird and the flowers definitely have a lot of confetti stitches in them. But I'm looking forward. I'm glad that I went ahead and bought the chart. I mean, I did feel a little bit bad at first, but I feel like no matter what I would have picked, I would have thought about this one the whole time and I would have regretted it. And I just feel like the bird with this frame, I just feel like they're fated for each other. So I want to say thank you to Kim for her inspiration, because this is 100% inspired by her bird that she stitched, and she just also had stitched that middle motif. And I don't remember when she did it. I do remember seeing her working on it. You know, once I figured out that she was the one I had saw working on or finish it, I do remember her working on it. So thank you, Kim, for your inspiration. But the linen arrived today. So this is a piece of 40 count Dusty Road by Seraphim Fabrics. One of the things I was kind of struggling with a little bit is that the linen is very much, it's like a darker sand color, and I was afraid that if I would have gotten something that looked like the original sampler, that it wouldn't have looked right in my frame. So that's why I went with a Dusty Road, and this is probably one of my favorite colors to use. It's the one I'm using for Christmas Garden, and I also have it kitted with something else. Oh, the samplings is also, this one right here is a 40 count Dusty Road. So it is by Seraphim Fabrics. In my last video, I did have a giveaway, and thank you so much to everybody who played along. The giveaway question was, what is your go-to weeknight dinner that you like to fix? And I really, really loved reading through all of the responses. It did make me very, very hungry. But thank you so much, you guys, for playing along. I really do appreciate it so very much. Without further ado, the giveaway winners. So the first winner is for the Beehive Roll Kit, and that winner is Susan Z. So this is your YouTube name. Number 2 is for the Pink House Sampler by Plum Street, and the winner is Edwina Bang. Number 3 was for the Flanders Field Viscornu, and the winner is Shelley Crouch. Number 4 was for Oh Christmas Tree, and the winner is Elizabeth Coleman. And number 5 was for the Liberty Pin Drum Justice Needle Berry, and it's also for the drum, and that winner is Tanya Wilson. So congratulations to all of the winners. If you can get a hold of me via email, I will put my information down below, and send me your address. I will get your prizes out in the mail to you soon. And thank you again for playing. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping. To all of the winners who have contacted me for my last giveaway, I have mailed out all of your giveaway prizes out in the mail. They went out this morning. There was a little bit of a delay because I needed to get some more envelopes, and they took a little time to get to me. So they are all on their way to you now. This video also has a giveaway, and these charts were also generously donated by Alice. So thank you so much, Alice, for your generosity. The rules. The first rule is that you must be a subscriber. You must like the video, and you must answer the question down below. There will be 5 giveaways up for grabs. And what you will need to do somewhere in your comment, you will need to let me know which items you are interested in winning, because what I do when I go to draw the winners is I search by numbers, and then that's how I award winners. So you definitely want to make sure that you are putting which items you are interested in winning in your comment. So number 1 is the Zinc House Row by Hands On Design. So this is number 1. Number 2 is called Anne Rudolph by La-Di-Da. So this is number 2. Number 3 is called Daily Labors by Chessie and Me. Number 4 is Alphabet Sampler by Birds of a Feather. And number 5 is a Fractor Love Sampler by Modern Folk Embroidery. So if you are interested in winning any of those, you will need to put that down below. You can put just one or you can put all of them, but you definitely need to put those numbers down there. And the question that you need to answer is, with the changing of the seasons about ready to happen, what are you most looking forward to in the upcoming spring season? If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, what is something you're looking forward to in autumn? You just put that down below, and in my next video, I will draw the winners. And thank you for playing. I really appreciate it so very much. I am looking forward to the green on the trees coming back because in Oregon, and I know I've said this before, but in Oregon, we have a lot of gray days. It rains a lot. And all the trees, of course, lose their leaves, so they're brown. And then, of course, the fields are also brown. And there's just a lot of like gray and brown and just kind of meh. That's why I like when it snows, because it sort of gives the landscape a beautiful like blanket on it. So for me, I am most looking forward to the color coming back to the landscape. All right, so as far as all the cross stitching goes, that is all I'm going to show in this video. In my next video, I will show what is in the trench bowl. I do get a lot of questions about that, and I have added some new pillow. I've taken some out and I've added some in. I was going to show them in this video, but it didn't dawn on me that I can't remember what the names of some of them are. I think the one up front is a With Thy Needle and Thread. So in my next video, I will show what is in the trench, and then that way it'll give me time to go search for what the names of the charts are. So I will show those in my next video. But as far as all the cross stitching goes, that is all I have to show and share in this video. I am going to show a little bit of Happy Mail that I got, and then I'm going to show quilting. So if you're not interested in seeing what I received in the mail and the quilting, this is a great stopping off point, and I'll be back in 2 weeks, and I hope you have a great one. Otherwise, hang tight. All right, so I never know how to sort of, even though I do a bunch of like clips, not even clips, like smaller videos, and I kind of mash them all together when I go into edit, when it comes to ending the cross stitching portion of the video and then going into the next portion, I never quite know how to do it. I always think there should be music or something, but then I would have to like put pictures in there, and I always do that at the end, and I guess it doesn't really matter. So over the past couple of weeks, I did get a little bit of very generous Happy Mail. One of my giveaway winners, Terry, she sent me a thank you package, which is totally unnecessary, but I absolutely loved receiving what she sent. So she sent me this, it's a tapestry sampler by Pat Rogers, and the year it came out was the year I graduated high school. And here is what it looks like. And I've seen people on Instagram working on this one, and every time I see it, I always think how pretty it is and how perfect it would be for my bedroom. Because the flowers around it are kind of in my curtains that I picked out, and I think it would be perfect. And I love the font of the alphabet, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I was so happy when I unwrapped that and saw it was in there, because it's definitely one that I you know, I've seen it and I always thought it'd be kind of fun to stitch it. And then she also sent me some fingerless gloves that she knits, and these will come in handy. I do use fingerless gloves when I am quilting. So here is what it looks like, and I also will wear them when I take Freddie out to go to the bathroom. So these will get a ton of use. Last year during Ice-mageddon, I have a pair, it's like a cream color pair, and I lived in those the whole week that we were without power and heat and all of that. And they kind of got stretched out, and I noticed it this year when I was out quilting, and I thought I'm gonna have to get me a new pair of them. And then some came in the mail that she made for me, and I love that she made them. I love handmade gifts. So thank you so much, Terry. I am going to enjoy using those. And then I also received a package from Roberta, and she is going to be starting a YouTube channel, or a Flosstube channel, and her Flosstube name will be the Sable Stitcher, and she hasn't done it yet, and when she does, I will let you guys all know. But she sent me this beautiful card, and she was so very generous. She sent me this sampling of Memories thread bling. So pretty. She also sent me this sticker that I will be putting in my book of days. And then she sent me some charts. So this is Scarlet House Penny Pumpkin, and every single one of these is on my wish list. The next one is Bittersweet and Broomsticks by Brenda Gervais. Sarah's Basket by Chessie and Me. I love this one so much. Out on a Limb Pin Keep by Scattered Seed Samplers, and I absolutely love this one so very much. I know Scattered Seeds, she does a club, and this was one of the club pieces. And then One Nation by Samplers Not Forgotten. And I remember when this one came out fairly recently, and I just love it. So thank you so much, Roberta, and good luck. I know that you've been working on filming your video, and I can't wait to watch it, and I know it's going to be fabulous. So thank you so much, you guys, for sending those wonderful gifts my way. It was so very generous of you guys. All right, let's talk about quilts. So I cannot remember at the beginning of my video if I talked about the quilt that is hanging up behind me, because this is the second time that I am filming the video, and sometimes when I'm like starting the video, I always want to talk about the quilt, and then I realize that cross stitchers probably don't want to hear about the quilt, and then I get all flustered. So I don't remember if I talked about it and if I kept it in the video. So the quilt that's hanging up behind me is called Cut the Mustard. It is from the book Tried and True by Joe Morton. I did work on it last summer. It's all made out of mustard and indigo prints. Probably one of my favorite quilts I have done, because I just really love that color combination. It did briefly hang, I guess it would have been late summer, and it didn't get to hang up for very long. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to hang up after the red sampler quilt, I decided to hang up this one. That way I could look at it for a little while. So this one will be up for a little while. So quilting. I feel like I have done a lot of quilting, like progress, and then also finish, and then quilt top and things like that. I feel like I made quite a bit of progress over the past couple of weeks. I've been trying to balance things out a little bit between project bags and then client quilts. And when I'm working on client quilts, that's usually when I work on quilts for myself in the evening. That way it gives my sewing machine a little bit of a rest. So I feel like over the past couple of weeks, I've gotten a little bit more progress on all of the projects that I have been working on. So the first one is Dear Jane. I still have one January block left to make, and it is the applique block. And for whatever reason, I just cannot wrap my head around how they put it together. I have been going, there is a blog. It's called That Quilt, and I will make sure to link it down below, but the author of the blog put the Dear Jane quilt together, and she shares how she did each block, and she did the applique block, and I have went and I have read through it many times. I think I kind of get it now, but for whatever reason, I just cannot quite like understand what she's saying. I don't know why. I think I'm the type of learner, I learn better seeing photos than seeing, you know, some photos and then all print. And I think that might be a little bit of my problem. I'm just not understanding the verbiage. I did make an attempt at it. It was a horrible pile of garbage and I threw it away. So I need to sit down and I need to just do it. So I was able to finish the rest of January. I got all of February done, and now I just have the March blocks to do. But these are the two that I had left to do. So this was one of them, and this was the other one. So I think they turned out pretty good. I did paper piece them, and I saw that in the March blocks, there is an applique one in there, but I think that one's going to be a little bit easier because I do know how to work with templates. It's just, I don't know. I think you would have to go read it. Maybe some of you guys also have the same problem I do, but I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll get the block made. Yvette says it's really easy. I probably will ask her 8 million questions when I do finally sit down to do it. But I think that the applique block that's in the March, it's a template. So I'll be able to, I'll do I need freezer paper method. I think that's what it's called. And that's how I will put that block together. But I don't want to get too much farther without not finishing that block from January. So I do plan on working on these ones over the next 2 weeks. I didn't these past 2 weeks because I was working on some other projects. One of them being the Temecula album quilt. So I was able to finish the 9th month, which this is what the blocks were. And this is what they look like. So this was one of the others, and this one. And I think I showed this one in my last video. So I have finished 9 months and I have 4 months to go. And the 10th month are these blocks. So I will work on these over the next 2 weeks. I've kind of set a goal for myself of finishing the Temecula album quilt by the end of March. So I lost a couple of days because I got sick and I wasn't able to work on them over the weekend, last weekend. But this weekend, I definitely want to sit down and complete another month. So in my next video, I will have those to show you. So over the past 2 weeks, I was able to go out and do a tiny little bit of quilting for myself. I did want to quilt my Jane Austen quilt, but I did not get, it's a larger quilt, so it's going to take quite a bit of time for me to do it. And I was going to work on it last weekend and I got sick, so I wasn't able to do that. I'm hoping in these next 2 weeks that I will be able to work on her because I really do want to get her completely finished. But I was able to quilt my Mini Monday Sewing Bee quilt. And here it is. So I know I showed it to you guys when I had it as just as a quilt top, but now I have went in and I long armed it. I just did the swirls. I love swirl motifs in quilts, and a lot of my quilts have a swirl motif because they're my quilts. And since I do love that motif, I do use it a lot in my own quilts. So that is what I decided to do, and I think it looks fabulous. And this border fabric right here, I bought enough that I thought it would work for the backing, but it wasn't quite enough. And so I have about 1.5 yards left. And when I picked it out at the quilt shop, I felt like if I had to make a reproduction dress, this would be the perfect fabric to do it with. And it's kind of like a brownish purple, but depending on the lighting, it does look blue. So I really love how this one turned out. The backing fabric is called Midlands by Marcus Brothers. I'm not sure who the, I think it was like Pickle something. I don't remember who the designer was, but I picked it up from Thousands of Bolts, and they still have some on their website. So, but I love it. It's such a great quilt. It finished as a throw size, which is what I wanted, and I'm so very pleased that I have it totally finished. My next quilt is the Pinwheels Quilt. I showed this one. It was a work in progress in my last video. All of the blocks were sent to me by 2 of my good friends. And over at the beginning of this week, I sat down and I decided I needed to finish putting it together because I got several more rows done, and I think I only had to do like 4 more rows and then I was done. So I took an afternoon and an evening and then a morning and I finished it. So here it is. And I love it. I love it so much. And I haven't decided yet what quilt motif I'm going to put on it. I also left it untrimmed. I will do that after I get it quilted. It definitely finished at quite a large quilt, but I will use it as a throw. And I love it. I love the fact that 2 of my good friends made the blocks, so I have like a piece of them together. I did get the backing fabric for it, and it arrived today, and this is what I will be using. So this is Journey to America, and it is by Judy Rothermel, and I also bought this from Thousands of Bolts as well. That's usually where I get a lot of my backing fabric because the fabric is like $5.40 a yard, and I needed 5 yards, so it cost me $20 some. So that's a pretty good deal for 5 yards of fabric. So at some point I will quilt it. I probably will quilt my Jane Austen quilt first because that is kind of the one that's #1 on my agenda, and then I will quilt this one after it. But I'm looking forward to working on it. Haven't decided yet what motif I will put on it, but I'm excited to have another one finished. A lot of questions that I got involved the fabrics that were used. They are all Civil War reproduction fabrics. All right, guys, well, that brings me to the end of my video. That is all I have to show and share for quilting. Quilting plans going forward are going to be to continue working on the Temecula album quilt. I definitely want to get at least 2 more months done over the next couple of weeks. Because again, I do want to try to get it finished by the end of March. I also got March's blocks for my Block Bonanza quilt. It came today. So I have last month and this month, so I have 8 blocks I need to make. So I need to sit down and take a little time to do that. And also maybe crank out 1 or 2 Dear Jane blocks. So it's just definitely going to be a lot of progress on a lot of different things. I do have a quilt that I would like to start cutting out, but I think I need to definitely focus on my projects here first. So we'll see what I can get accomplished in the next 2 weeks. Well, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. If you would like to see what I'm up to in between my videos, you can follow me on Instagram. I am Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, and I have a Facebook page which is called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting, and I will put all of that information down below if you're interested. Otherwise, I will be back in 2 weeks. I hope you have a great one. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I realized a couple of videos ago I forgot to say Happy Valentine's Day, and it was like a couple days before Valentine's Day. I need to get better about that. So happy St. Patrick's Day. And I will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.